Leg arms! It was a lot of fun,
but it just wasn't my cup of tea.
So I'm back here at Welker Farms, which is a good thing. I'm happy to be back, and I signed a lot of signatures. Leg arms! All right, so we're back on the Cummins Komatsu. Leg arms went back. If it doesn't work out, we'll renegotiate the employment situation. But for now, we need to swap the intake yet because the air horn was in a different spot with the injectors on the A pump. We need to set the valves, put the bell housing on, and go from there. So let's get into it. Here we go. Okay, so the intake valves get set to 10 thou. The exhaust valves get set to 20. We have an in-depth video on how to set the valves. So definitely check that out if you're fresh to that. But once we have the valves set, we can put our valve covers back on, and then we'll put our intake on. When you're doing injectors, take your air and blow across. What it'll do is create a little vacuum, and it'll pull the top of the fuel out of that injector, any dirt that might have a chance to go in. Your best way to keep stuff clean. Don't blow directly right into it, blow across it. When you're thinking of doing a conversion like this, going from an A-pump industrial engine to one out of a pickup, you have to use one with a VE because they have the smaller injectors in it, which take the 11/16 wrench or a 17mm wrench. The P-pump uses a 3/4 or a 19mm, and your lines won't line up. So then you either need different injectors or you have to make custom lines. Kind of a pain. Find yourself a VE. They're actually cheaper than the P-pumps anyway, and you can go from there. Basically, everything else has to be switched over. You can leave your oil cooler and your oil filter. That should be fine. And your feed line for your turbo should be fine. You still need to swap the line because I think the turbo's up higher. But basically, everything else, you need to strip the pickup truck engine down to the short block, which means a cylinder head and a rotating assembly, and then put your timing cover, everything else back on again from the original industrial engine, including your thermostat, your fan, all that fun stuff. So here we go. Okay, so we've got our plate bolted in place, flywheel bolted in place, and all I'm gonna do is put a hose clamp that just slides on here. We'll bolt this to this. It'll slide the clamp to where we need it to be. It's not going to put any pressure on the thrust bearings on the crankshaft because this is also spline, so this yoke slides back and forth as well. So it's not even that critical as to where it goes, but we've got where our wear mark is, and just to verify, we're just going to put that hose clamp on it. So here we go. Okay, so I got one bolt in. We've got access to tighten that plate down. We'll cover that up afterwards. All of these are Loctited in, and now we can Loctite this in. There's one in there already. You can see there's no tension on that whatsoever. Got a little bit of play in there, so nothing's up against the thrust washer. And then this shaft has room to slide back and forth. So we'll buzz those in, and I think we're just about ready to give her. Here we go. So the A pump is not keyed. Even though there's a keyway here, the gear does fit on the shaft any which way. Even though there's a dot on the gear and on that gear, you still need to go into the side of the pump, find the flag, put your little tool into the camshaft, and that will make sure that the engine is top dead center number 1, and then your pump is timed to whatever the bulldozer asks for, whether it be 12, 14, whatever. We don't have the flag in, but it does fit right in. We have a whole video on how to time the P-pumps. We'll put that link up there. But that'll keep the pump from moving. We'll pop the gear back on again. We will line up the dot just for fun, and then we can put our front cover on. So here we go. Okay, so we've got our front main seal installed. Now it comes with a plastic sleeve that slides over your crankshaft so that you don't cut this lip. But I'm pretty sure that Leg Arms was so impressed by that tool, he took it, because I can't find it, and I've never lost anything in my life. So what you can do is cut the top off a water bottle, which slides nicely right over and has the right taper. So we'll see if I can do this with one hand. I'm just going to put a dab of silicone on this, just like magic. So that's the lift pump off of the first gen, which has the lever. This is the lift pump off of the Komatsu, And this is the lift pump off of our new 8.3 that's sitting at home. We got a spare lift pump. Luckily the lift pump wasn't damaged on the other one. So it's just a bit longer, but it comes with a spacer. So this is exactly the same as this lift pump. So if you were to go to Komatsu, this would probably be 300 bucks. If you go to, say, Ford, which ran 8.3s in some of their trucks, is probably like 160. If you go online, you can get them for like 100 bucks. So shop around and throw this on. I think that's the last thing. We're gonna have a coffee and then we'll boom her back in again. Here we go. All right, I think the battery died on the GoPro, but it's in there. Everybody kind of went home at VNR. There's one guy working away and I didn't want to disturb him. So I just walked in and out a couple times, put it in myself. Nice and easy, nice and slow. I think we're supposed to get snow Thursday. So I'll be back tomorrow, it's Tuesday. We'll button everything up tomorrow, fire it up. All right, another day in paradise. I hope, I really didn't think this project through properly enough because I should have had leg arms pull the engine out of the Dodge, and I should have pulled the engine out of the Komatsu because I have no idea how any of this stuff goes back together again. But that's life of a mechanic. I figure construction is like a puzzle where you get to have the lid to the box so you know what you're building. Mechanics is just a bunch of pieces and you get to figure it out for yourself. Okay, so the trick to putting something together when you have no idea what you're doing is one, do it out back so nobody can watch. They're all over there. So as long as they don't watch the video, we'll be okay. Two is to start putting back together what you know works. Fuel filter goes here because the fuel lines are only so long. This ends up over here somewhere, but I think that has something to do with the exhaust. So we'll put the exhaust on. I put the fan back on again, but I forgot this pulley. But this is a pulley for an AC. What kind of idiot makes a dozer without AC? Windows aren't even tinted. But because it doesn't have an AC compressor, we can just toss that. Oh, I got a leak in a hose. Dang it. Oh, it's definitely a leak. That's not so bad. Anyway, I'll take care of that. All right, so I got that leak fixed. Just a little slice right at the end. Must have just caught on something. Starting to snow, winter's coming. I think we're ready to fire it. There's a couple things that we got to consider, I guess. We know nothing about this machine. It came in with a hole in the engine, so we don't know if anything actually works, if there's something else broken. But I imagine because it had the hole in the engine, that's why it was parked. I put the pedals back in again and freed them up this morning before Aaron got here, so the pedals move nice. The key switch doesn't work. It didn't turn over, so I suspect that solenoid is broken, so I had to hotwire it. And there was no fuel in the tank, so there's probably a fuel leak as well. I can't see them sucking all the fuel out. Maybe, but we did put 10 liters in it. I have the pump primed, so I can hear fuel coming out of this. So I think the pump is full of fuel. This is the throttle cable which pulls. This is actually the decel pedal. So when you step on it, it's supposed to slow the machine down, which makes sense. So I can use that one backwards to throttle it for now, or I can use a piece of string. I'll just use a piece of string. And then we'll order the right cable and then make it so that it functions as it should. I think, I bet 10 bucks they're gonna say hook this cable back up again. Don't worry about this $500 shut off solenoid. Got my throttle cable from the Dodge that was laying in the back of the Dodge, so that should fire that up. Let's see if it, let's see if the hydraulics work. That's the safety, so you can see the lock, so it disconnects all the hydraulics. So it'll run, but it shouldn't do anything safety-wise as to the tracks moving or the bucket moving on its own. Not like that, you can just see it over there. That thing is kind of a, check out that video, first start on that. So, put the batteries in it. I don't think we need brake clean. We've got the drive shaft connected for the pump. and we're basically just gonna try and see if we can get it moving. Here we go. Give her full throttle. There's no fuel stop for the idle. A little bit of fan belt squeak, but I don't see any fluids pouring out. So far so good. Operating the way it should. I've got left, I've got right. Blade works, so the hydraulics are okay. It steers, but come on, Gary, why would you leave a pickup right in the middle of the driveway? I guess I could go around, or what's wrong? I just died. I wasn't pulling enough on my cable. We're gonna stop the video here. I got it running and moving. It needs a throttle cable, it needs the shut off fixed, and it needs the solenoid to actually start it. And then you should probably grease it and check the levels and whatever else. So there's nothing I want to do more than to put Randy out of work here. But you got it from here, right? Good luck. Yep. Maybe it'll end up at Cars and Parts and we can push a bunch of cars, drive over some stuff there.
If I don't get to it, go ahead.
Not bad for a scrap machine and a junky pickup engine.